Alrighty then. I apologize. This is the only place I can find where the wind is whipping hard, dude. And this is the only place I can find where it's not going to beat the shit out of my camera. But boy, have I got some information. Oh, the information is going to be good, but the video is going to be shit. First of all, in one of my last picture videos, I put up a front page, a cover page of a customs report on the finders. What I forgot to put up was another picture I had of, there's also reports on the keepers. And there's a report on the watchers. So the finders, the keepers, and the watchers. So now, I got to tell you some of the things that are going on before I get to the big thing. So let me see. I've got something written down here, and I don't have a clue what it means. That might come. That might come later. So, the plane fags recently have found some very, very interesting things. First of all, the simple one. There is a plane that we've learned when this puppy starts flying, bad things happen for them. The 666 Child Molester Society. Bad things happen for them when this thing starts flying. So, we're keeping an eye on that plane. Another, there was a commercial plane, a commercial jetliner, that I'm going to put, when I do my next picture videos, I'll put up the flight path of this thing. But this jetliner, I don't know if he was coming or going. There was an airport, and then there was a straight line, either going to it or coming from it. And then this commercial jetliner made zigzags and curlicues and squares and circles and oh my gosh. And these are for hundreds of miles. It's like he came out of the airport and made like a Jacob's ladder up in the sky. He didn't make a Jacob's ladder up in the sky, but I mean, that's how convoluted it was. How bifurcated, or whatever the correct term might be. There's another small, little, tiny Cessna that people have been watching. And this guy has been flying up, and they can tell altitude, they can tell the whole flight path. They can tell the altitude he's at, and where he goes, and all that other kind of stuff. And this guy is zooming, he's flying really, you can't fly very high in those little planes, but he's like, let's say 10,000 foot. He's at 10,000 foot, and all of a sudden he comes down to like 600 feet, and does circles and loop-de-loops and all kinds of weird stuff and weird patterns, and then he takes off back up to whatever. And he'll do this a bunch of times in a bunch of different places, and he runs really erratic patterns. And they found that when he's doing his flight patterns, it means whatever pattern he ran, mirror it, and then look in the center. And we're discovering stuff like that. The other times where he'll go up, he'll be, 10,000 foot, he'll come down to 600. we start looking in that area where he's circling and looking close at, and we'll find stuff there. I'll keep you updated on that. That's getting very interesting as well, because we know what plane it is. I guess nobody's talking about who owns it and that kind of stuff. But that's been going on for a long time. We've got all kinds of different plane patterns from, especially over in Nevada, where they're doing the same thing. They'll come out of San Francisco, they'll go up into Oregon, and then they'll shoot down into Nevada, and then they'll circle someplace, and then they'll go back. That kind of stuff. Bunch of weird flight patterns up there that we're watching, pay attention to. I don't see anything else, so I can get to the big story. The big story is we have busted their communications almost in real time. Almost in real time. And this is all pretty much the majority of the people, this is all coming since the El Paso shooting, or the El Paso incident. And I can really go off on a tangent in that. What happened was, when El Paso happened, I told you El Paso was a sting operation. Everybody, I mean, everybody was all over that before it even occurred. But what it turns out is that the Dayton shooting happened almost the same time. So everybody was working on connecting the Dayton shooting with the El Paso shooting. As it turns out, the Dayton shooting looks like it was a fluke. It was an anomaly. It was some idiot who decided to do it himself. But in the intensity of them trying to connect those two shootings together, they found something devastating. Devastating. They found that Portland is, a half time bigger than Dayton. And Portland has 2 children's hospitals. And somebody mentioned, I live in Sydney, Australia, or some other big city in Australia. We got a population of 2 million people. And we've got 2 children's hospitals. But Dayton, Ohio, has a population of something like 400,000 people, and they've got 15 children's hospitals. Boy, did they start digging into that shit. What did they find? They found out. Now, if you're caught up on this Epstein stuff, you'll find out that his financial backer, that his only financial client, turns out to be Lex Wexner, what? I don't know. The head guy for Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works Limited, Abercrombie and Fitch, and all that other stuff. I think they've sold some of those companies by now, but he owns the limited brands. It turns out that Epstein has a house or a ranch or whatever it is about 100 miles away in New Albany. And on top of that, there's a Les Wexner Medical Center for Children, or wherever it is, nearby. And who did he get the property from to build his little medical center? The Shriners. Since this information came out, nurses, construction people, everybody and their mother has been coming out talking about, oh, my dad helped build some of those hospitals and this, that, and the other thing. And he told me that there's tunnels underneath them and all this other kind of stuff. And nurses that work there have come out and given information. Turns out that there's a doctor from one of the hospitals who I guess is a really bad guy. He's killed children in the operating room. He has screwed up surgeries. He's a surgeon, supposed to be there helping children. And he has interrupted a surgery so that he can go have sex with one of the nurses in the middle of a surgery. Many children that he has operated on have died or been disfigured or had serious injuries due to his, I guess, just a lack of paying attention to what he's doing or whatever. And now he is wanted. He's hiding in Pakistan or somewhere like that in the Middle East. And there's stories like that just coming out left and right about these hospitals. 15 children's hospitals in a small place like, Jiminy Christmas. And then it's also found out, I can't remember how this ties in, but all of the autopsies in Ohio, like from halfway down, like if you cut Ohio in half, everything on the bottom half, all of the autopsies on the bottom half of Ohio are done in Dayton. Getting some good lightning activity over here. So I'll put this over there so you can watch the lightning. But anyway, this is a bunch of really interesting stuff that I didn't plan on putting in this video. I just thought I'd mention it right now because people are diving deep on Dayton right now. There's a whole lot of stuff about that. Anyway, let me get back to the comms. Ordinary people like you, I wouldn't consider myself ordinary or normal or anything. And I'm definitely not talking about the gang fag little child kidnapping bitch boys. But they are busting the comms. Their communication system. As I said in, I think, the last video, they can't do it over the phone anymore. They can't do it through email. They can't do it through fax machine or anything like that. So now they are communicating in public. And this one person figured out how they're doing it, and she's spreading it around to everybody, teaching everybody how to do it. And she's got about, Jiminy Christmas, 700 friggin' hours on a walkthrough on how she got where she's at now. And she is just behind them in real time. Excuse me. She's just behind them in real time. Like, she's just like one step behind these guys right now. But I've listened to probably, I don't know, 60 hours of it, and it's just unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It seems like a stretch, it seems like it's a bunch of coincidence, but at the very end it leads you right there. And how I learned of it was from the El Paso. It started out, how did it start? It started out with, okay, it's all on one great big continuous timeline. And this is for the masses of the 666 Child Molester Society. And this is involving the shooters and that kind of stuff, but it involves all of them that pay attention to the communications. I can't remember how it started, but they use a national story for the beginning of something coming up. Like, let's say that they wanted another incident like El Paso. They would have a national story come out. At that national story, these national stories are rare occurrences. They're not something you would see normally, like the political stuff or, you know, whatever like that. It's a anomalous story, like a El Paso type incident, or a plane crash, which is what a lot of them are. And there's other incidences that they put on nationwide TV, and it has all the keys, like this is the story you look for. Like you look for, like, let's say a plane crash that had 33 dead. You look for their symbols. You look for their symbols in these stories. 33 dead, 33 injured, 33 whatever like that, 32. You gotta know their symbols, their important meanings, that kind of stuff. 17 is really big for them. All kinds of stuff like that. And then you analyze the story. You look for the keywords. And you can, then that involves either the gematria, or what she has been finding is you throw it into Google. And when it comes up in Google, usually that top story is the one they want you to look at. So let's just say there is a plane crash, 33 are dead. Okay, so you want to look at those stories. They will lead you to something else, a picture, something. You take that stuff, that keyword, whatever, throw it into Google, it'll come to the top story. The top story, you analyze the heck out of that. Maybe it involves some gematria, whatever. It'll lead you somewhere else. When it leads you somewhere else, it'll lead you somewhere else. You start putting the stuff together. And she did this for the El Paso shooting, and she came down with the specific address of the Walmart that was involved. And you follow her chain, and it is unbelievable. It involved the steer that went into the bank. It involved a bunch of stuff. It involved a dog. That's it. I can't remember if it was the first step or the second step. It involved a video on YouTube of a dog that can talk. And the dog says crackers. After that, there was a 2-second video. Oh, no. That 2-second video went to some child trafficking stuff. That didn't have anything to do with the shooting. Anyway, I would say your first step, if you want to learn how to do the codes and that kind of stuff, is go learn how to do the gematria. and go learn to do the variations and stuff, and that'd probably be once you got into it. But because that is very key to their communications. Now, this lady that is doing this is the amazing part. These are normal people like you and me. This lady that has busted their comms wide open and is teaching everything else, she was homeless a few years ago. She was living in a tent. Now she got married, and her husband, you know, anyway, everything's fine for them now. They're doing great and all kinds of other stuff, and she is older than I am. So I think she said she was like 67 or something like that. And anyway, this is the lady that's doing it. She's taught a whole bunch of other people how to do it, and I'm coming in a little bit late on it. And I'm not really learning how to do it. Like I said, I've never been into coding and ciphers and all that other kind of crap, and I'm not really that interested. But anyway, these other people have found other codes, because this is for, like I said, the national story is for the national people. So that means, like, for the people doing Hillary's work and stuff like that, they're only getting stuff on local TV, local channels, local newspapers, however they do it. This is the kind of training you'd get in at the farm for the clown network. But anyway, anyway, I won't go there. But anyway, let me tell you about some of these other people that have been learning. One of them has been working on China. And this lady that's been working, I assume it's a lady, that has been working on China. Yeah, she's a lady, because she put so many emojis and stuff in her stuff. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, she has found child trafficking in China, and she is really digging deep on it. And let me give you the basis, or the basics of it. In China, remember, you're only allowed to have one child. Now, the majority of people, if you can only have one child, they want a male. They don't have any problem with female children or anything like that. It's just, if you can only have one child, most people want a male. So the people who end up with females, where they wanted a male really bad, they do anything they can to get rid of that female so that they can try again for a male. What do they do with those children? You know how many children are missing? Well, not just children. There's over 1 million people missing in China just recently. Anyway, she has found where they go, or some of the avenues of getting rid of your female child. That there's places that you can sell them, that some will sell them to relatives and that kind of stuff, people that can't have children, this, that, and the other thing, but that they will turn around and sell them for the money. You know, the Podestas owned a chain of daycare centers in China as well. A string of like 23 of them or something like that. Anyway, somebody else found some stuff. Let me look at my note. They are just discovering all kinds of stuff. There is another thing that was discovered through that. I'll get to that in a minute if there's nothing else right here. Let me see. I got that. Oh, that I'm going to talk about. Okay. when I told you, this is the last thing about this here. When I told you about that dog that spoke crackers, that could talk and say crackers, and I watched the video, and the dog says cracker. Excuse me. At that same time, Trump did what? He went and visited a cracker factory. That was like Trump saying, we got your stuff, dude. We got your stuff. Nothing is hidden. Now, another thing. This lady that figured the comms out and, oh, that's nice. Anyway, the lady that figured the comms out and everything found something else. She found that a lot of these tour channels, and they're online, they're on TV, they're all that kind of stuff. They're everywhere you can find them. There's one that discusses chocolate. Like if you're going to, let's say, Sydney, Australia, it's like they have a tour for Sydney, Australia for finding the best chocolate. The best hot chocolate, the best chocolate bars, the best, exotic chocolate, the best whatever like that. She has figured out that in those videos, there's a bunch of code names and all that other kind of stuff, and they are leading you right straight to places where you can get children. Whether you want children for sex, whether you want to buy children, whether you want to sell children, whatever like that, that's what she found there. She's been checking out a lot of these tour type channels with different cities. Guess what she found? We're going to see, we're waiting to see if this place goes out of business or what happens, but it's Demo's Pizza in Chicago. That this is another Comet Ping Pong. And this guy that owns it, he's a young guy and all that other stuff and seems a lot of fun and having a good time and just a normal, regular guy. And yet he's flying all over the world and all this other kind of stuff, and he shows pictures of his jet and all this other kind of stuff. He's another Epstein, it seems like. She started digging deeper into this. It threw up so many red flags, the stuff that she was finding about this Demo's Pizza in Chicago, that she started looking deeper. She found an employee, a chef, who, on his own time and on his own YouTube and Instagram and whatever, he's discussing children. On top of that, you remember in Toy Story where they had that nasty little gang fag kid? That nasty little piece of dog shit gang fag type kid that, pulling arms and legs and stuff off of the toys and all that stuff, and he made that one toy with the baby's head on it, and it looked like a spider and all that other shit. Well, that's what this guy's car looks like. It's got like 100 baby heads up on top. It's got baby heads in the front dashboard. It's got baby heads in the back dashboard. This guy is not normal. This is a sick puppy here. And this is the kind of red flags that I'm talking about that this pizza place throws up. Something just ain't right. So, there